In Florida, they're a very benevolent state. So listen carefully. Before they auction that property up, Florida says, well, wait a minute.
Hey there, I'm Randy, and this, of course, is Ted Thomas, who is the Tax, Deed, and Lien Authority in America. Good to see you again, Ted. And I know you came to this video because you're interested in Florida tax deed sales. And we're going to ask Ted here, who knows about this stuff. Ted, what is the process for a Florida tax deed sale? Like, where does it start? Where does this process first begin?
Okay. All right. So Florida confuses people. So let me try to do as much to settle it down in your mind and make it easy. So first of all, the United States has over 3,000 counties, okay? All 3,000 counties are authorized. If a property owner does not pay their taxes, they're authorized to first lien the property, then levy on the property, and then they're going to sell it at auction because they have to get that money in from the taxes to pay the county bills. All right, so all counties can sell tax deed certificates. All right, so how does a tax deed work? All right, number one, it's a deed. A deed usually transfers property from one individual to another individual when you sell it. All right, in this case, what's going to happen is the deed that's in place, the property owner is going to forfeit the property because they didn't pay. So that means the county is going to take that property, they're going to reduce it down to what's owed on taxes, and they're going to resell it at the auction. All right, so that's a very easy process to understand. Here's why you're going to get confused. All right, so you understand every property can go to a tax auction in the United States. In Florida, they're a very benevolent state. So listen carefully. Before they auction that property up, Florida says, well, wait a minute. We want to take care of our clients and our customers and our state residents. So what we're going to do is we're going to first sell a tax lien certificate. Now, when we sell a tax lien certificate, that's just a piece of paper, okay? Now, that piece of paper is what you buy. All right. So if someone doesn't pay their tax, simple as this, the state is going to issue a tax lien certificate. That's done right at the county level. They issue it. Anybody can buy it and pay my taxes. But if you paid my taxes, I have to come in and pay you during a redemption period of 2 years. Anytime during that period, I could come in and pay you, get my certificate back, and then you make money.
I own a house, and I can't pay the taxes. And the city, they need those taxes to pay for things like police and all that. So instead of taking my house, they create this tax lien. That's the certificate. So I'm the investor. I'm coming in buying certificates. So in essence, I'm paying that person's taxes, and then he's gonna pay me back after a certain while with interest. So that's why it's a good investment for me. Okay.
Perfect investment. But the question really was tax deeds. So we had to come backwards into the question. So that's where most people start, is with tax lien certificates.
In terms of a Florida tax deed sale, what are we talking about there? What does that mean?
Well, if you go to a tax deed sale, what they're going to do is they're going to advertise on a long list all the properties that are for sale. All right? The starting bid will be somewhere around 10, 20 cents on the dollar, and they're going to sell that property, and then they're going to redeed that. The county is going to transfer that property to whoever the buyer was. So that's a simple auction, where, like any other auction, they're going to start out at a low price, and the highest bidder gets it, and now you own the property. The confusion comes when the tax lien certificate doesn't get redeemed. If you bought a tax lien certificate, you didn't get paid, in every other state, they're going to issue you a certificate and you're going to own the property. So in every other state but Florida, if you own a tax lien certificate and you don't get paid, you're going to get the property. In Florida, you're not going to get the property because they're going to have another auction. The state is going to require a second auction, and now that property will go to a regular tax deed auction. So that's where everybody gets confused. So let's review quickly. All states can sell tax defaulted property. In Florida, because it's very benevolent, they sell a tax lien first. All right, so if you buy a tax lien, I can tell you right now, 95, 97% of them are going to pay you. People are going to come in and pay you. But what about the 2 or 3% that don't pay you? You're saying, wait a minute, what's going to happen to me? Well, in Florida, you're not going to get the property like everybody else does. In Florida, you're going to have to call the county and say, you're going to have another auction. So you have another auction, and you may get the property then, or you may just get paid then.
What is the Florida tax sale redemption period?
It's 2 years in Florida. It's not a redeemable deed state. So what happens when you raise your hand and you bid and you buy a deed, what you did is you now transfer money to the county and the county transfers the deed to you. It's over. You now own that property.
And now getting back to the tax lien, so there's an interest rate. What is it you can get in Florida?
Okay, so the state government, the legislature of the state determines what the penalty is going to be. If the people come in to pay, I could earn all the way up to 18% on that. So the banks would pay 1 or 2%. These certificates could pay all the way up to 18%. Back in Florida, isn't like all the other states. In Florida, now that certificate is going to go to another auction.
Well, it all starts also with just finding properties, Ted. And I know you've said it's as simple as calling up counties and getting a list of properties for sale. There are how many counties in Florida?
Florida has 67 counties.
I know you have a workaround for that, don't you?
Yeah, thank you. That's a good way to say it, a workaround, because I could do it electronically because I have an electronic calendar, and it basically shows you, it shows people every single county in the United States, and we update it every day. How many properties are coming up for auction and what county that's going to take place in.